What's going on, everybody? It's AG here. So today we're going to be taking a look at my top 10 coaches on the rise. So essentially the top 10 coaches that I think have got next. So to be on this list, you kind of got to be a younger coach, kind of more unknown, that are going to be household names, I think, sooner rather than later, and that I think are going to move up and potentially be those next guys to kind of get those big jobs. Now, some of these guys are mostly going to be G5 schools, but there's going to be a few P5, P4, Power 4 schools mixed in here, kind of newer, fresher guys. But let's go ahead and get into the list, shall we? All right, so first off, honorable mentions. All right, so these guys, not necessarily any order here, just honorable mention because I think they're a little too well known to be on this list and be on the rise, but I'll explain my reasoning in a second. Dan Lanning and Sherrone Moore, both really good coaches, both young, but they're kind of household names, so I didn't want to put them on this list, but I would say their names are rising. Dan Lanning, for example, is kind of one of the bigger names in the sport, and Sherrone Moore taking over at Michigan. Anytime you're the Michigan head coach, you're going to be a household name. Beat Ohio State and Penn State last year. We'll see what he's capable of when he's actually kind of the guy. Now, Jeff Brohm, a little older, but I think his name is really going to skyrocket. He's going to be kind of one of the premier names in the sport, I think, over these next few years, because I think taking over at Louisville, I think Louisville's really in good hands there, and I think he's going to have Louisville as a consistent top 20 team. All right, so let's go ahead and get into my list here. Join me down in the comment section. Let me know your guys. But starting off at number 10, Fran Brown. All right, it's kind of an unknown name. The new head coach at Syracuse, Fran Brown. Really good recruiter. That's kind of why he is on this list. I think he has a lot of potential as a head coach because the ACC is kind of up for the taking, especially with how expansion is working. We don't know what the ACC is going to look like next year or even the year after that and so on. But Fran Brown takes over at Syracuse for Dino Babers. Fran Brown, highly regarded recruiter from Georgia, kind of known as the number one recruiter in the nation, and it really shows. Brought in the number 24 transfer portal class to Syracuse this year. Now, how is he going to be as a head coach? We'll see. That's to be determined. But half the battle as a college football head coach is getting talent in the door at your school. He definitely has talent. He's definitely brought that in. Kyle McCord, for example. When's the last time we thought we would say Ohio State's starting quarterback transferred to Syracuse? Never. And I know Kyle McCord gets a lot of crap, but to pull that in at Syracuse, that's a really good haul. They also added some other Power 5 guys on the outside. Like he brought in a couple guys from Georgia with him, former 4 or 5 stars that I think are going to be really talented. Now, will it translate to success? We'll see. But he could easily move up this list next year. All right, number 9, Eric Morris. All right, so hasn't had too much success yet, but I think North Texas is kind of on the rise in itself. Eric Morris, all right, first year at North Texas last year, not too good, 5-7, but really good offensive mind here. He went 24-18 at the FCS level as Incarnate Word's head coach as well. Pretty young, 38 years old. Also under his either head coaching or offense coordinator wise, has six times he's had a top 10 offense in the country. Whether it was last year at North Texas, whether it was when he was at Washington State under Mike Leach, whether it was when he was at Texas Tech. He's had a lot of really good offenses. Brought in a solid transfer portal for North Texas. I think his name should probably be out there a little bit. Number 8, Spencer Danielson. All right, Boise State kind of took over mid-year last year. Boise State was kind of in the dumps, but he ended up turning their year around. All right, got them to the Mountain West Championship. You can see his record down here, 3-1, 750 winning percentage, 35 years old, so he's a young guy. I think Boise State has a lot of potential this year to be really good. You got Ashton Jeanty back, and they bring in Malachi Nelson from USC at quarterback. I think Spencer Danielson will be a household name before you know it. All right, number 7, Ryan Silverfield. All right, over at Memphis. At Memphis, he has a 633 winning percentage, 31-18 as a head coach there. And a big reason for this, number 1, I think Memphis is going to be really good this year. They're my pick to be the G5 representative in the playoff. Number 2, the history with this job. All right, so usually whoever is the Memphis head coach, there's greener pastures to go to. All right, so you think back a couple people ago, Justin Fuente went to Virginia Tech after he left the Memphis job. All right, after that, Mike Norvell at Florida State. He was at Memphis before he went to Florida State. So it's kind of a trend here that Ryan Silverfield, I would probably guess after this year, because I think this is kind of going to be the peak for him at Memphis this season. Don't be surprised if after this year he has a really good year with Seth Hennigan at quarterback, then he kind of jumps ship to one of the power jobs. All right, number 6, Jeff Traylor. All right, a name that's kind of been thrown around a lot. You've actually probably heard his name a lot. Was in the running for the Texas A&m job this year. UTSA head coach. He's won a lot of ball games here, 736 winning percentage. All 4 of his seasons as a head coach have been winning seasons, 2 of those being 10-plus win seasons, 39-14 overall. Now, he loses kind of his quarterback during that time, Frank Harris. So how's it going to be without him? To be determined. But don't be surprised if Jeff Traylor's not the next Arkansas coach. Is probably what I'm going to be predicting. I think he'll replace Sam Pittman next year. But Jeff Traylor, I think he's got next, okay? Like I said, he was in the running for the A&M job. Kind of sort of was in the running for the Texas job last time it came open. Not really, but kind of threw his name out there. But he was a serious contender for the A&M job, so don't be surprised if he gets an SEC job or a Big 12 job this next cycle. All right, number 5, Jon Sumrall. All right, 41 years old at Tulane. Really good job at Troy previously, 852 winning percentage. In his 2 seasons at Troy, 23-4 overall record. All right, that's his overall record. He's been a head coach for just 2 seasons, but really successful there. We're going to see how it translates to Tulane. Tulane kind of in a good place. All right, Willie Fritz had them winning, left to go to Houston. Jon Sumrall comes over. Really good hire. Also, I think he could be moving up to an SEC school before you know it, probably at Kentucky. All right, number 4 is G.J. Kinney. All right, Texas State head coach, 35 years old, 615 winning percentage, 8-5 overall last season, 12-2 as a head coach at the FCS level, at Incarnate Word. But really good year last year, year 1 at Texas State. I think they're going to be even better this year. They could go undefeated, potentially go look at their schedule. I think it's definitely possible. I think ultimately G.J. Kinney will be the replacement for Dave Aranda at Baylor in this next cycle. But G.J. Kinney, really a name on the rise, young head coach from Texas. All right, number 3, David Braun. All right, David Braun at Northwestern, 38 years old, took over kind of a bad situation last year, coming off a 1-win season. Pat Fitzgerald kind of left in the offseason with a bunch of chaos going on at Northwestern, but David Braun actually did a really good job. All right, got the interim tag removed, 8-5 season in the Big Ten for Northwestern. I'll take it. That's a good season. And like I said, before he took over, 1 win the season previously as the next guy, same situation, But David Braun, really good job. Now, can he replicate that success? We're going to find out. Our number 2, Alex Golesh. Similar situation, took over at USF after a 1-win season. All right, so they didn't have a lot of success the year before. He took over last season, went 7-6. They're kind of a team on the rise. Don't be surprised if they're a top 25 team by the season's end this year. 39 years old. Previously, he's been UCF and Tennessee's offense coordinator following Josh Heupel, So Alex Golesh, really good offensive mind. And apparently he's doing pretty good as a head coach as well because USF is really talented. Byron Brown at quarterback, for example. I think they're probably going to be a threat in the American this year. All right, number 1, we've got Jamey Chadwell. All right, so not as young as some of the names on this list, him and Jeff Traylor both, but Jamey Chadwell is kind of the guy when it comes to G5. He's a winner. All right, he's won at Coastal Carolina. He's won at Liberty. 693 winning percentage, 3 10-plus win seasons, 52-23. He's the next guy if a G5 opportunity is, if Power 5 job opening is going to come offering to a G5 coach, Jamey Chadwell is your number 1 call. All right, so there's some rumor this last cycle that Mississippi State offered him the job, but he turned them down. So what I think that means, I think he's holding out for a bigger fish. So probably he'll ultimately end up being the Florida head coach, most likely is kind of what I'm guessing is going to happen. But if he's turned down multiple Power 5 jobs before that is confirmed, so he's holding out for something. Either he's holding out for a bigger job or he's content, being the premier G5 school because Liberty has a chance to, be in the playoff year in and year out now with the expanded playoff, with the automatic qualifier for the G5 schools. So I think Jamey Chadwell is able to have a lot of success at Liberty or have any pick of jobs that he wants. But that is my top 10 coaches on the rise. Who would you add to this list? Who would you take off this list? Who would you move up? Who would you move down? Let me know. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video. And most importantly, subscribe.